Okay, so you want to own a campground. Before we move forward, I want to back up just a tad. When we were talking about, are you sure? Well, I didn't think of this then, but you probably can't tell, but I'm just winging these things. I make some notes, but I jump all over the place. Anyway, if you're going to do this, you're probably going to do it with somebody else. It's not just by yourself. Probably. You're going to have a wife, family, significant other, partner, kids, friends, whatever it is. You're going to be spending a lot of time together. A lot of time together. Especially if it's a wife or something like that. If you've had two different jobs, you're going two different directions all day long. You're only there together at evening. It's not the way it is at the campground. I'm not saying, one of you may be in the office more and one may be outside, but you're still going to be together a lot more than you ever were before. That can be trying. You're going to have to make sure that's going to work. Somebody's going to be the bad guy sometimes. Somebody's going to be the boss in certain situations. Not saying you can't agree on things together, but at some point, some way, some shape, some form, you're going to have a decision to make, and you're not going to agree. That's just the way it is. And somebody's going to have to say, this is what we're doing, and you got to be good with that, whoever that is. We don't take turns per se, but there are times I'll say, okay, I don't agree with you on this one, but okay, have it your way. Vice versa, she does that for me. So you got to make sure you can work together, because that's going to be a big deciding factor on your level of success. You're going to have to work together and get along. Okay, so all of that. Now, on this one, the rest of it's going to be about looking at sites and visiting campgrounds, that kind of thing. Okay, so you're looking at campground sites and you see a campground in the Northeast, and you scroll through the pictures and everything's blurred out and names and park signs, all those things, and you're like, why are they doing this? Why can't I tell where this campground is? I want to know. I need to know. Well, because the campground owner has decided that they don't want everybody to know they're for sale. Now, why would they do that? Well, if you own a campground and you are looking to sell it, you probably have employees, you probably have a clientele that you don't want to upset. Now, clientele-wise, like I said, talked earlier about the way things are as far as sites being needed. Are you going to lose any business if people that come to you find out you're selling? I don't think so. Would they still come no matter who owns it? Probably initially. If the new owner makes a lot of changes and changes how they do things and they're not happy, then maybe they don't come back. But if it stays similar or gets better, the new owners could be a lot better. Who knows? It just depends. So I don't think that's the main reason. I think the main reason is employees, or one of the main reasons. If you have employees work for you and they like working for you and they're happy with their job, and find out you're selling, do they feel secure enough to stay? What if the new people don't like me? Or what if they come in here with 4 adult kids and they don't need the help anymore? Maybe I better look for a job now, that kind of thing. Big parks, all those things, all that makes a difference. So it's confidential for a reason. And if you're looking to buy, you want to honor that. Because what happens if they find out that you are the one that caused them to lose employees? Do you think you'll get that campground? No. I think that's one of them. The other thing is to keep window shoppers down. That's another one. I think people don't want just people showing up and asking questions and intruding on the campground owner's, manager's time. They want a scheduled visit so that they can make sure that they can give you some attention if you're wanting to come look, without trying to be in the middle of a holiday or something. Some of those things aren't going to work. back to this pictures. I see these pictures. Hey, I've been there. I know where that campground is. Well, if you know and you've already been there, you probably don't need to go back to look at it unless you are really interested. Now, if you feel you do need to go, well, then schedule a time, make a reservation, go walk around and look. Don't bother the owner. Don't ask the employees questions that would arouse suspicions. If you want to say, hey, how much does it cost to ride that paddle boat? Okay, well, that's anybody would ask that question. But don't say, how much money do you make off of paddle boats every year? That's not what you do. So, for example, when we were looking, there was a campground in Boone, North Carolina. I won't say the name, I don't think it matters, but I won't say anyway. But we'd stayed there. So when it popped up, we said, wow, we know where that one is. And I think we'd even already had reservations. It just so happened we were already planning on going to that place in a couple of weeks. And we contacted the broker and let them know, and they said, sure, you can meet. So we went through the channels. If we hadn't done that and just showed up, what we should have done as a prospective buyer was not say anything, look around. You want to take some pictures, take them, but don't take them like you're doing a photo shoot for, a magazine trying to sell something. Have your wife pose and take a picture of this and that. Be discreet, because if they didn't they don't have a sign out front saying for sale by owner, then they don't want people to know. So don't advertise the fact that they're trying to sell. That could get you on somebody's bad side. You don't want that. You want to if you want that place or interested in making that purchase, then you want to start off on the right foot. So follow the steps that they have asked, and that goes a long way. If you're interested in those, they will ask you to sign a confidentiality agreement. Why? Well, because everybody doesn't want everybody in the world to know how much money they make. You sit at a campsite and you'll think, okay, they got 13 sites that are premium, they got this, and they charge this for this, and this. They're making this much money. Maybe, maybe not. You may get close to the gross, you may not, whatever, but you don't know what things cost. And costs are, okay, here you go, our electric bill. It's been as high as, I think, $9,000. So people don't think of that. So that's a lot that's with 70 something sites. Anyway, so you got water, you got electric, you have taxes, all those things, propane you're buying, upkeep, all those things. So yeah, you can maybe figure out in a ballpark area of what they're making. You know what their costs are. So, and they don't want everybody knowing. You don't unless you go and want to tell everybody what you make. They don't want to tell everybody what they make. So that's only for people that are really interested in and can afford to buy the campground. So just because you're interested in the campground, the broker's going to want to know, can you financially buy it before they give you that information. Just because you're interested, they're going to want to know some more information. So normally, so be prepared with that. The last thing we're going to talk about on this visit is due diligence. Due diligence is after a point in time, you've decided this may be the place, you've signed the confidentiality agreement, so you've gotten records, those kind of things, and you're looking at buying that specific campground. There's a amount of time that you get to go over the books, to make sure that things are the way you would like them. Look at the buildings, look at the grounds, check the equipment, see what kind of shape it's in, all those kind of things. There's a limit on how long they're going to give you to do that, and depending on how thorough you want to be, it could be very costly. Because that's going to be on you. The owner, the seller, is not going to provide that for you. You're going to have to foot the bill for that. So it all depends on how much of your money you want to spend looking at a campground to decide if you want to buy it or not. If you have say, okay, here you go. you want to do that, you look at it, you spend a lot of money and say, uh-oh, this isn't the one. Well, that may have saved you a lot of money because you found out a lot of things, but at the same time, it's cost you a lot of money, and that's less you have for the next one you go look at. So it's one of those double-edged swords kind of things. We personally, once again, I was a lineman. I was not a business guy. Basically, the way we did it, and I'm not saying it works for everybody, it worked for us, luckily. I guess I could have gone the other way. We basically work camped here from early January till March 7th when we signed the contract. And the whole time, he gave me a site, and I think he gave me propane and quarters for the laundry. But normally, if you're a work camper, I think it's like 20 hours a week. I worked every day. I learned everything I could. I, followed him around. He showed me how he did things. Do I do everything the way he did them now? No, I do not. But I learned his way, and his way was working at the time, and I don't regret any of that time spent, because there's a lot to learn when you buy a campground. It's not just how to run the register. It's where's the water shutoffs, which septic tank feeds from what sites, what electrical boxes feed what sites, how do you change a breaker, which some of those things, but there's a lot to learn from the guy that's already doing it. So at some point we could have backed out, I guess, and said, okay, it's not working, and I would have given him some free time and free labor, because I didn't just follow him around and look. I was the one cleaning the bathhouse. I was the one doing a lot of electrical. If there was any electrical problem, it wasn't like there was a lot, but just saying, if there was something going wrong, I was out there with him, rain, shine, day, night, whatever it was. So, but it was very valuable information, and I'm more of a hands-on guy anyway. So that was the way I did it. You can hire somebody to go in and inspect the buildings and those kind of things. I suggest getting somebody to look at the books that knows those things. An accountant, back to an accountant. I think that's a good thing to know. I don't know what they would charge you to look over and see if everything looks right. And part of what we talked about in the last video is the builder's workshops. When we went to Daryl Hess, he sort of went over the books of a couple campgrounds and just said, these people spent this money on this. You wouldn't have to do that. They decided to do that. Here's 20 grand that would add back into the kitty per se, that you wouldn't have to spend. So, and a good accountant can maybe look and say, these things are something, maybe this is too much. They're spending too much on advertising the way things are right now, or they could say, okay, look, they just did this big improvement on this office, and that's already paid for, so you won't have to do that. So that's a one-time cost. So all those things could help you know better what your prospective income could be. Now, with that being said, there's going to be things like we added that site this year. You may do those things, so you have to say, okay, I won't spend that $20,000, which they did on upgrading the office, but I'm going to spend it this coming year on fixing these two sites or whatever. So, you can look at it that way. But it's good to have somebody that knows what they're doing. I think an accountant would be very good to look over the books before you made a final decision. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below, and I'll do my best to get back with you. I plan on doing another one in about a week. I don't know what the subject matter will be on, but as long as people keep watching, I guess I'll keep trying. So thank you, and good luck with your campground hunting.